Hey everyone, how is it going? And welcome to another Coffee with Kage. And man, oh man, what is this? Come on, people. I mean, seriously? Uh, well, uh, it amazes me every time I see, pardon my language, but bullshit like this because it is so wildly out of control. And I grew up watching this anime, and I have no shame in admitting that because I genuinely liked the anime. I thought it was a pretty awesome story, had great character development, and it was not the typical Saturday morning cartoon. It was something different that introduced me a little bit into a more mature world for the time, or when you're being basically or 8, 9, 10 years old, getting to be a young teen, you start seeing things a little bit differently. And watching the anime now, I like it for different reasons than I liked it when I was a kid. There's a reason Sailor Moon Crystal appeals to me a little bit more now than the original 90s version, which is the character pictured on the right. It was the 90s version. The left is some pretty awesome fan art. I like that take on the character. That is why it is art. But what really amazes me, and I will get to the tweet because Bounding into Comics has done an amazing job compiling this. And once I saw it, I couldn't ignore it as an anime fan. And that is when anime gets accused of being too white. And this just happened with Sailor Moon. And I will go ahead and put it right here at the front of the video. The character, as portrayed on the right, is the anime version of this character that was written and originally drawn based on the manga version of this character by the original author. The manga version and the anime version are only slightly different in a little bit of proportioning, but they are the same character in look. They are true to each other in their look. You could interchange both of them and they would fit right in. The only real difference between the two is the manga's hair is longer. That is just because that is the art style in the manga versus the anime. It worked better in manga versus anime, which required a lot of hand-drawn frames. The fact that she looked Western was the creative choice by the writer and the creator of the anime, not censors who were editing everything, which the 90s had a big problem with censorship, but not redrawing characters. That is one thing they were not guilty of. Well, editing characters, yes. Completely redrawing, no. And so, we'll get into some of the artwork here. Because to me, just fine like it is. Tsuki no Usagi, aka in the American anime as Serena, Sailor Moon, was a lady from the Moon Kingdom, meaning extraterrestrial, not Asian, not American, not African, not European, no nationality, just extraterrestrial human who lived on the moon and was reincarnated on Earth. That is the history of the character you need for this. Or her supporting cast, the Sailor Scouts and Mamoru, known in the American anime as Darien, were also not your typical humans. The Sailor Scouts were from their respective planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Mamoru was from a very early version of Earth that had not yet broken up into the continents, and they had a very different kingdom. Like, the nationalities were very different. And they're, if anything, or maybe there is some Japanese lineage coming from Darien into the anime, but not from Mamoru, but not Mamoru himself, being purely Asian. So their nationality, their skin color, is inconsequential for this. To the objective eye who understands the history of the comic and takes it in that context from the creator of the franchise. Not everyone in this Twitter feed understands this, as you will see. And again, there was an art contest to basically redraw this frame of Usagi in a different style, a different way, even swapping characters or blending franchises, just a way to interpret the character in a different way, which is a great thing. It is part of being a fan of something, is interpreting it and seeing where you could go with it. That's why they have so many or things that are called fanfics. That's the word. And it's different interpretations of the character, how you would like to see, like what crossovers you might want to see, how you might imagine the character, how you look at the character depending on what you would like to see or what you would draw the character as. But it's a celebration of diversity within the franchise, not criticizing the original art, which is what happened here. But you see, this is the original art. I love the 90s art style. In my opinion, it was more complex and more detailed than some modern anime and anime that came before it. Not saying the previous or modern anime is bad. I'm just saying I feel like it was more complex. There are some modern anime that is catching up to it though. But it's a different art style. Like here, a great version of a more Asian looking or Usagi crossed over with Venom. Love the blend of two completely different art styles into one. Like, it looks like an American comic that I really actually kind of like to see. But I digress. It's great art. A different style of art. More to me, that's more of a Death Note style. But it's just great art. I like how that's done. And that just the amount of work. That's a more modern anime style, but it works because it's a different art, but it could be done, and I could totally see that. And that's just beautiful artistic interpretation. I love that. I could totally see that being a manga spin-off or a different universe of Sailor Moon. But again, it's different art. I love this version of the art because a more Indian style Sailor Moon. Like, what would happen if she was born in India? It's a great example. And more pixel style art. I love how that's done. Pixel art is really underrated. And this I just find hilarious. Freaking Hank Hill as Superman. Love it. Completely absurd, but I love it because it is freaking funny. And then you got a more modern style or manga, or that's more realistic, but also more Asian in look. I like that art style. I could see that also being its own manga, and I like that interpretation. It's still pretty true to the lineage of the original character, while still being unique and a different look from what the original is. You can still be true to the original look and be different, and this is a case in point. And a dark-haired version, I really like how that looked. Like, what if someone else was Usagi? It's a great example right there. What I start having the problem with is the tweet right here. So many people whitewash her in this beautiful challenge. How can you whitewash a character that is not of this planet? First of all, again, extraterrestrial who was a moon princess. Second of all, was reincarnated, which means that still in her original form, but sent forward in time. She's not going to pick up the Japanese traits by the logic of this show. It's not like her DNA is being recombined based on her parents in the modern world in the story. And even her parents, though granted her mother, I don't recall seeing her father. I'm not saying we don't, I just don't remember. But even doesn't really look like Usagi. It, it's just not there. And her little brother definitely does not look like her, though he does act like her before she becomes the princess. And this one from, or I think it's Yujito, or however you pronounce that. I'm not even caring at this point. Assuming that an anime character has to look Japanese to be anime, isn't that a little racist itself? I could be crazy here. Anywho, let's continue. And this one, oh my god. Thanks for making the show more racially accurate than the actual show. Who are who is this Drewski guy to tell the creator that she didn't get her own creation right? That she didn't make the right creative choices when she came up with her character and her story? I'm sorry, what? Yeah, Drewski, off. And so many people like, I love that you actually drew as Japanese. Too many people with realistic renditions anime characters look Western, you know. Like, that was the anime art style of that era. They took creative license from some American creations and used their own unique art style because it is definitely Japanese. American style animation did not pick up that particular look until way later. I mean, God, what was that one show? Afro Samurai took inspiration from that era of drawing, not the other way around. So, again, that's, my opinion, is a little bit racist saying Japanese anime has to look like a Japanese person to be true Japanese anime. That is bullshit. It's like telling Picasso he needed to draw something more like the Mona Lisa to be a real artist. I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to tell Picasso how he should or should not have done his art. And this, I'll admit, not my favorite interpretation because I don't feel like it's true to the theme of Sailor Moon, but it is still pretty good art. And it has a certain value to it, and it has a unique appeal. This is still good art, just not my particular taste in art, and I can see why it would do well in the challenge, because it is a very unique and very valid interpretation of Sailor Moon. So, but there are people who are going to take this and run with it, saying that, oh, or this didn't do as well as the other ones because the character wasn't white. But no, this is just as valid an interpretation of the character as any of the others. So, I'm not going to say this is racist. I'm not going to say it's not. It is art. That is what it's intended to be. And I don't get how people are going to, like, look at that and all the other interpretations and then say they're anime and not drawn to look Japanese. It's like, and that's right, they are not intended to look Japanese because they are not Japanese people in the anime. They are extraterrestrials. But what really burns me about this tweet is this line right here. POC anime fans should be able to see themselves in their heroes. I'm sorry, but since when was skin color the only defining element to identifying with a character? Mace Windu. Love that character. I love Samuel L. Jackson as an actor. The reason I identify with his character is not his skin color. It is the fact that he is a complete, calm, collected badass who just about took out Emperor Palpatine. That is a character. I'm identifying with his traits, with his persona, how he portrays the character, not his skin color. I'm not gonna freaking what's another one? Another great one in Star Wars. Everyone knows and loves him. Luke Skywalker. I identify with his character because when I was younger, watching the original trilogy, I identified with Luke's finding himself and growing up a little bit sooner than he probably would have liked to have, to rise to a challenge and to figure himself out. I didn't identify with him because of his skin color. I still don't identify with his skin color because it is just flesh. It's not his character. Just like we're seeing right here in this article. I mean, a lot of those anime characters, they could be drawn and colored as black. I wouldn't care. The story is the same. That does not change the character. You identify with their traits, their personality, their hardships, or the character themselves, not any particular little thing about them that, like, oh, they have curly hair, I'm going to identify with them. That's not how you identify with a character. I mean, come on, grow up a little bit. Because to me, that's a little bit racist. Say, don't come up here with your chest out see is kind of nonsense. Get back in your lane, shut up. Like, no, 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 no. Say, just wow. But the ignorance of people like that. And there's no reason I don't typically grace Twitter, because I don't want to get caught in the cesspool. I can think with my own intelligence a little bit more than that. I can understand the history of a character and appreciate it. And the fact that Japanese characters are depicted as white already shows how much representation for POC exists in a society that glorifies Eurocentric ideals. Again, not a human born of Earth origins, first. Second, why are you telling the author how she should interpret her creation when she is creating it and writing it and putting it to a story? Hello? I'm not going to tell an artist how to do their job. The ETB or Malice surely shouldn't get the claim to Sailor Moon. No, the author gets the claim to Sailor Moon. We're just fans. And saying we don't get to claim it, it's kind of claiming it yourself. So, if the shoe fits, and then you got people like Silver here, and I genuinely feel bad for this guy because he has a very valid point. Now, I haven't seen all the Twitter feeds. Again, I don't want to. That's why I'm really glad for Bounty into Comics, because they did all this work and put it all together in a nice little bow. And apparently, his version that he drew was based on his sister. And they are Malaysian, which has a different look from Eastern and Northeastern Asians. And apparently he got dogpiled on. And that in turn was making fun of his sister. And he's understandably distraught about it, and I don't blame him. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I'd be pretty dang mad too. So, let's get back to the meat and potatoes. It doesn't matter how you identify with a character. It doesn't matter why you identify with a character. Enjoy the community that creates. Don't start dividing yourself based on things like the tweet about the skin color and saying that a character should look one way or another. No, the artist gets to decide that. The creator gets to decide that. So, that POC anime fans, keep being anime fans. You enjoy what you enjoy. More power to you. But if you are a POC anime fan, do not identify with your favorite character just because of their skin color. Because that, especially when you look at it in a tweet, in a context like this article, it does not look good. And I'm not going to identify with the character because of skin color, because I don't care. You shouldn't either. You should identify with a character that has a trait you like, or that shows you something that you want to aspire to, that gives you hope, that gives you entertainment, that makes you laugh. Those are reasons to identify with a character, not this. With that, I will see you all next time.